there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. My idea for today's card was kind of like the floating frame technique, but I wanted it to just be so much simpler. So today I am starting off with this little Technique Tuesday stamp set. Now this is called Meadow Flowers. And I purchased both the stamp and the coordinating die set, so you know that I want to get my money's worth out of using this stamp. It is also a gorgeous stamp, so I'm going to make sure that I am using it lots. So all I'm doing here is starting off by stamping out some of these flowers on some Nina Solar White paper, and I'm stamping it in some Memento ink because I'm going to be doing some alcohol marker colouring, which I don't often do because it's definitely not my favourite and it does take some time. However, I really like a couple of the colours that are in the 24 TriBlend marker set. Now, I went ahead and got this big set, but you can definitely buy them individually. This set just gives me everything I need. Every single pen has 3 colours to it, so I know that I don't have to sit there and try and figure out which shades I'm going to use. And this is just really easy for me because, as I said, this isn't my preferred technique of colouring or anything, and I just enjoy doing it every now and then. So this makes it really easy when there are just 3 pens all in one pen and I have my light, medium and dark shades ready to go. So this pen here that I am using is called the Light Green Blend. And then here I'm going to use the Coral Blend. So these are kind of 2 of my favorite pens. I really like this kind of light coral color, but I think you could probably make these little flowers any color at all. And this just makes it super easy. So 1 pen for the stems and leaves, which is technically 3 different pens, but 1 pen, and then again 1 pen for the flowers. So nice and easy. And as I said, colouring is not my forte, so I just do kind of change up the colours a little bit and do a little bit of lights and darks and where I think they might go. But you could use any colouring medium to colour these gorgeous flowers. And as I said, I just really like these couple of colours and I knew that I wanted to use these today. Now, as I said, I wanted to create kind of like the floating frame technique. Now, I have a video on my channel on how to do that without using any press and seal at all, so it's nice and easy. However, I just wanted this to kind of be the simple version, if that makes sense. So that was my goal for today when I was making this card. So kind of like a floating frame, but not a floating frame. Anyway, so I am going to whiz through this colouring. I'm only going to show you one of the flowers, but I did stamp and colour around 6 of the flowers, I think. And I'm going to fast forward through so you can see that is one of the finished ones. And I pretty much did really similar colouring for all of them. So as I said, I did end up purchasing the coordinating die for this one, which I don't often do. And again, I really do love these smaller stamp sets because they have a much lower price point and that definitely appeals to me. So I have die cut out all of these 6 or so flowers. I think I've got 5 here and 1 coming in just a second. And then the stamp set itself comes with a couple of little sentiments, maybe 3, that says you really are the best and thanks for being such a good friend, and then hooray over there on the right hand side. And to put my little sentiment on, I looked through my stash for some oval dies and I really had nothing. So I found this little kind of decorative die here and cut out the center oval. And then when I was looking at the scrap piece of paper, I kind of liked those little dots that it created. And I was wondering about how I could incorporate that into my design. So I'm going to come back to that in just a second. I'm using some VersaFine Onyx black ink, which is just a really nice stamping pigment ink. It's nice and black and dark and it stamps really well. Now, as I said, I wanted to incorporate these dots, but I don't have any oval dies, which is evident now, but I wanted to include it, so I'm doing just a little bit of hand cutting around so that I can include that border. And I really like how it just sits around the sentiment, and again, it's kind of that little extra subtle bits and pieces that you add in that can really make a card. Now, you guys always know I encourage you to just use your stamps and dies and make the most of them and get the most out of them. So here I'm doing exactly that. And as you can see, each flower has 3 flower heads to it, and I'm just separating them off. It's really easy with the way that the die cut works, and I separated some off so that they are single heads, some have 2 heads, and some have the 3 that they were originally stamped out as. Now I popped up that little center sentiment on some foam tape, and then I'm just going to lay the dots here flat. Again, it's just the little subtle details that can really make cards. I'm adding some foam tape onto the back of just mainly the flower portions of these die cuts, because this is the part that is only going to really be on the card. And then I just want to create a really nice full frame around that center. Now don't worry here, it kind of looks a little bit empty and a little bit like there should be more spaces all filled up, but we're going to fix that in a minute. I am popping on all of the die cuts, so just taking off some of the release paper, and I roughly had them set out where I thought I wanted them to go, but you can see that it kind of does look a little bit empty, and it's important to fill up those gaps so it makes it feel like it's nice and full. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to stamp and color anymore, I am just going to use the bits that I have cut off. So I can see that there are some gorgeous little foliage and leaves, and they're kind of the main parts that got cut off. They didn't really make it onto the card just because they were further down the stem, and so I feel like this card needs a little bit more of that green. So I am just going to kind of fussy cut out some of them, add a tiny little bit of foam on, and add them on so they look like they were always meant to be there in the frame. And there are plenty of little leaves that have cut off there, so I can add as many as I would like. And then the card panel that I have there is 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm going to pop this onto a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. And again, I just really like doing that. I really like leaving the little white border around the outside, but you certainly don't have to. So I'm just using some liquid glue, which is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. And then this part is, again, really important. I am using a clear glitter pen. This is the scrapbook.com one. And I'm going over all of this and making sure that there is heaps of glitter on there. This is a really kind of plain, maybe, that's probably not the right word, but I do want to make sure that there are lots of details that catch the person's eye who's looking at this card. So using a little bit of that really delicate glitter is a good way to go about it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Make sure you give me a big thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to my channel and hit that notification bell, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye!